Hey guys, I am here today with this. This is the all-new Genesis GV80 Coupe. Let's get into it. Okay, before we talk about the engine, let's just talk about the exterior. We've got these big 22s that come standard with the GV80 Coupe, which is great. And obviously you've got the couped back end of the GV80, which delineates that between it and the SUV version. And you can see you've got the little ducktail as well to make it look sportier. Does it actually do anything for aerodynamics? Who knows? But I've also got this beautiful matte paint job on this one that I'm driving, which is, it'll cost you an extra $1,500, but it really is quite gorgeous. And then, you know, it takes that matte finish is making some of the beautiful design elements in the GV80 Coupe stand out, including the really nice headlights, as well as the turn indicators, which are here where you would normally find a little side intake. Those elements are really beautiful. Obviously, we've got, like every modern SUV, an enormous grille. This one isn't too offensive, but obviously we've got a lot of ADAS that's got to fit in the front of here. But the design truly is gorgeous. Let's take a closer look at this back end. There's a dirty joke in there somewhere. And yes, your eyes haven't deceived you. I have parked on a slope just to make this confusing. But you know what? I live in the canyons, which is one of the great things about what I do. It gives me a lot of great roads to test drive on. So anyway, sorry about the slant. But anyway, look at this back end, right? As I said before, we've got a ducktail here. But another thing I wanted to point out here with this coupe is we've got this sloped back end, but we don't have a rear windshield wiper. So if you're the sort of person that gets easily annoyed by your rear window getting dirty, most people don't really use them anymore, honestly, that's gonna bug you. And I left this dirty just so you could see how much that's going to annoy you, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, look at the rear exhaust, beautiful dual exhaust with the chrome details, just to remind you that this is a badass SUV coupe. Okay guys, let's talk numbers. Okay, MSRP on the GV80 Coupe is $85,750. This beautiful vehicle has this special matte finish called Makalu Gray. Makalu Gray is extraordinarily beautiful. I'm telling you that because sometimes it's really, really hard to capture that on video. I hope I've done a decent job, but my goodness, this is absolutely gorgeous. That's gonna cost you an extra $1,500, but you know, like, if that gets you all worked up, you have to check your priorities, in my opinion. As driven, this vehicle is $88,630. Let's talk about what's happening under the hood. In the GV80 Coupe versus the GV80 Standard, in the GV80 is the four-cylinder engine. So in this one, you've got the 3.5 liter V6 that's got a twin turbo, hooray. Also, it's got an electric supercharger, which is very exciting. And this is putting out about 409 horsepower and 405 foot-pound of torque. Okay, so what else is different in this coupe? Number one, it's got standard all-wheel drive, yay. Two, that electric supercharger is giving you truly minimal additional MPG. Instead of like the standard 16, you're getting, their EPA is reporting 18 miles to the gallon. Listen, I didn't really achieve that, but we've already established I'm a really aggressive driver. Speaking of which, the GV80 Coupe also has a Sport Plus mode, which I really enjoyed. So essentially what that does is it turns off stability control, like most of them do, but it also holds it at higher RPMs before it shifts, and makes the steering a little heavier, which I absolutely loved. Did that accomplish what they wanted? I'll get to that. Also, in the exterior, we've got a panoramic sunroof and the Genesis logo puddle lamps, which are always fun party trick for any of your passengers that you're driving at night. All right, so how did it drive, Motorhead Mama? Good question. There are three things I really liked about this drive, and there are 3 things I would change about this drive. Number 1, the transmission. Loved it. Didn't have any issues with the shifting up, the downshift, even the electric supercharger. Like, I just didn't, it was seamless. And actually the sound and the whole thing was really, really nice. Paddle shifters, lovely, loved it. Suspension, when I'm going on over a bump, really nice, very well executed, even in regular and sport plus. So those 2 things were really nice in terms of the drive. And third, the sense of luxury as I was driving this car just was really nice. Again, all the touch points were beautifully executed. Everything from a driver's standpoint is where it's supposed to be and not difficult to get to, and just the right amount of redundancy in terms of the interface, which these days is a really hard thing to nail, because everybody's like, oh, let's make lots of too many buttons, or let's put everything on, touch screen. Genesis has a really nice balance here. So in terms of the drive, there are 3 things I didn't like. Are you ready? Okay. 1, body roll. No. I don't want any body roll. No. Not a performance car. No. The steering, the sensors, and the overall handling of the vehicle, it just really could have been better. I'm not complaining about the sensors. They were good, but the overall driving experience should be more elevated, and I expect they'll get to that, and I'll get to why in a minute. 3, in terms of the driving experience, I just would have liked it to be a little faster. Once they nail this body roll and the driving dynamics, I'd like a little bit more precise steer. There are a few things that I would fix. Soup it up a little. Give me like 450 horsepower. I'm not asking for 500. I'm not asking for 550. I don't want a 0 to 60 time under 3 seconds. Everybody's doing that. That's fine. But just give me a little more power. Just a little more power. Less body roll, and this thing will be a winner. Why do I think they can do that? I'll tell you in a minute. Rear seats in the GV80 Coupe. So, because this is a coupe, we're not getting a 3rd row. So don't get your hopes up. It's one of the sacrifices you make with that tilted rear. But how often do people really use the 3rd row? I don't know. If you're a performance person, you don't really want anybody back there. I know I don't. All right, so seats. Hi, let's just note the red leather interior. Yum! Also, armrest, boom. Again, we've got these static cup holders, which I'm never a huge fan of, but whatever. Maybe it's because I just don't drink traditional water things. I don't know. This thing, there's a little compartment here. I predict that people will break it because the button is kind of hard to identify, in my opinion, and people aren't that smart. So there you go. Maybe your passengers are smarter. I don't know. But obviously you can adjust these. So nice, right? Like it's luxurious back here. I'm just not going to lie. We've got heated and cooled seats. They can control their own HVAC back here, which is really nice. I haven't sat back here and driven with anybody, but the one thing I will say is the only place I'm seeing a vent for the HVAC is right here, which sometimes is enough. I know in my X5, it isn't always on super hot days. So keep that in mind if you're going to have a lot of rear passengers, particularly if it's going to be super hot. In the cold, you're probably fine because you've got seat warmers, but in the heat, can be a little bit different. It's another reason to tint your windows, I guess. Rear seat, headroom. Are we worried about this slant making it so that your rear passengers don't have a lot of headroom? I mean, if you're putting the football team in here, or, some large teenagers, I'm 5'6", so this is the amount of headroom they're gonna have. This is where my driver's seat goes. There's a lot of legroom, and obviously I don't have this forward enough. But they can do this, right? They can do it from back here. They don't have to beg the guy in front of them to move the front seat, which I think is a wonderful thing that Genesis does in general. I've also got 2 USB-C chargers back here, as well as 115 volt plug. Okay, now it's time for all the back end jokes. I'll wait. All right, so in the back end, we got a lot of room. I know they write themselves, don't they? But no, seriously, we've got a lot of room in here. I'm saying, I don't play golf, but I'm saying 3 golf clubs sets. I don't know, what do they call them? But I know how big that is, and I would say 3 of them can fit back here. You got a 60-40 split, so you can put your rear end back. Again, the jokes. Obviously, because this is a coupe, you're going to sacrifice some of the headroom in the storage area. Does that mean you can't go to Trader Joe's or Whole Paycheck and fill it up? Absolutely not. I did it several times myself. So you're going to be just fine. If you have larger, bulkier items, you're obviously going to have some issues getting boxes back here because of that slanted roof. So keep that in mind if that's something that you do. From the rear, you can control the rear seats with a push of the button. Very, very nice. It's also got this great net. I know it's just a little thing, but it actually is wonderful, because if you are a performance person and you need to go buy stuff, or you want to take a couple of bottles of wine home, you don't want those rolling around in the trunk, because that is an enormous bummer. Underneath this rear, there's a little bit of storage, not much. You've got some, like, you know, Genesis swag back here, kind of fun. No, it's not even worth going through. Okay. Electronic trunk. Yay. Power lift gate. Said it once, I'll say it again. I'm gonna find this for you so you don't look stupid in public. Button's right here, right there. There it is. The button's right there for the electronic lift gate. It takes a little while, but it's worth it, because the haptics are just so sexy, in my opinion. And then the reveal with the beautiful design. It's almost like you're showing off. That's why it's taking so long, because so people can admire it as it's closing. Okay, if you're a parent, or you're somebody that's not really an enthusiast, and you're like, I don't know, do I really need a performance SUV? Yeah, you need to come a little closer. Talk to Mama for a second. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna get in this car. You're gonna bring out whatever playlist rocks your boat, right? I don't care if it's Heart, maybe it's some, you know, throwback. I don't know, Public Enemy, In Sync, whatever floats your boat. Then you're gonna put your kids in. Put it in Sport Plus mode. Tell those little kids to buckle up. And you're gonna rip them to school 5 minutes earlier than you normally did, with a smile on your face and your heart racing. And everybody's gonna have an adrenaline rush. And that, my friends, is how you throw away your antidepressants. You're welcome. So there you have it. Genesis GV80 Coupe. I'm Motorhead Mama. Thank you so much for watching. Please press that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. So there you have it. The all-new Genesis GV80 Coupe. A beautiful... So there you have it. The all-new Genesis GV80 Coupe. A performance SUV for our time. Look, I don't know. So there you have it. The Genesis GV80 Coupe. I'm Motorhead Mama. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.